Wren. The White House says new overtime regulations could impact nearly 100,000 Hoosier workers when they go into effect December 1st. Businesses have a lot of decisions to make in the next 6 months. As J.D. Gray reports, chief among them is how to pay for the additional overtime.
At its Bloomington headquarters, Stonebelt offers direct support to people with developmental disabilities. From art classes to mental health services, Stonebelt's employees are there to assist. The company's 500 employees are dedicated to helping people improve their lives. President Obama unveiled new rules last week that govern exempt positions. This means more employees, including about 20% of the workers here at Stonebelt, are eligible for overtime pay. It's a move that some think could provide better wages and more time off for mid-level managers. But when Stonebelt CEO Leslie Green heard about the change, she had one thought.
How will we afford it?
Green says Stonebelt doesn't have a lot of options.
Well, we don't control what we're paid to provide the services. It's all set by state and federal government, the allocation that we get and the way that we're paid. So unlike a private business, we can't just raise our prices to accommodate the increase in salaries.
Under the final version of the rules, salaried employees making less than $47,476 a year will earn time and a half for working overtime. That's just over double the previous threshold.
And so as the rule currently exists, you could pay an executive employee lower than the poverty line and work them as many hours as you wanted to and be in compliance with a federal act that's supposed to make wages fair. That doesn't sound like the current rule really complies with the intent of the law.
He says there are 3 ways companies can address the new threshold. They can increase wages above that threshold and maintain exempt positions. They can set salaries for hourly workers that include some overtime but remain below the threshold. Or they can reorganize the company and create more jobs. The idea is that workers can spend more time with their families or make more money, and employers can provide higher wages or create more positions. But some don't expect it to play out this way.
I really genuinely do not expect the money to move very much in either direction. Some people might make a little bit more, but that'll be about it. And then businesses will figure out and organizations will figure out how many hours they can afford to work people and at what rate.
But for a company like Stonebelt, the question is, where will the funds come from?
Not-for-profits are the ones in the worst spot because they can't launch a new product line. They can't go out and change their pricing. They mostly get reimbursed on fixed schedules.
Green says that Stonebelt has somewhere between 100 and 150 employees that are in exempt positions, and she's not sure how the company will address their roles. The ones that may be most affected are what Green calls frontline managers and coordinators. They're working with the staff who provide direct support, and they're providing some direct support themselves.
As I said, we've known about it for a while, and we've been evaluating how it might affect us, but in the end, I don't think we'll know until we just start it, and then we'll probably have to, figure out what we can do from that point forward.
Schrader says not-for-profits like to keep their operating costs low, including pay, so they can push their services to the people they are serving.
They're in the worst spot because the only way to drive those wages up is to spend more money, and more money spent inside means less money for whoever it is they're helping.
But Green recognizes that this could have a positive impact on her employees.
So it moves us in the direction we'd like to go. It just hasn't currently given us the resources to do that. So that's our next task, is to figure out how to get those resources in place.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm J.D. Gray.
Professor Dow Schmidt ran some numbers for us. He said the overtime exemption threshold was introduced in 1975, around $13,000. Now, adjusted for inflation, that number would be around $58,000 today. Another part of the new provision sees that the threshold will be reviewed and updated in 3 years.